Hi there, welcome to my channel. If you're coming back from one of my previous videos, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. So today I'm going to be talking about first-time buyers. I'm mainly going to focus on things that you need to think about when you just have that first thought that, I think I would actually like to buy a house. This is before you've even got the deposit ready. This is just the things that I feel you should at least consider while you're still in those very, very first stages. So I do hope this video helps someone out there. And if you do enjoy it, please leave a like and subscribe as well if you want to see more videos like this. And yeah, we'll just get straight into it. So the first thing I would actually encourage people to do, I know you're probably so tired of hearing this, but it's credit score, credit score, credit score. So the first thing I would do is just to log in just to see what your credit file actually says about you. It could be that your credit file is actually wrong. They've got the wrong name, they've got the wrong address, just to make sure that that's correct. Because you can do that without having any money. It's free to look at your credit file. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some links down below of the 3 main credit bureaus so you can just have a look. The other thing that you can do that's free is just to register to vote. Again, that also increases your credit score without actually needing to have any money. You can also have a look at if your credit score is bad because you have no credit history at all, or it could be that in the past you missed a couple of payments and you want to make sure that you actually start making conscious decisions to improve this credit score, because it's going to be a massive part of whether or not you actually get a mortgage, or the type of mortgage you get, whether it's going to be high interest or pretty good interest. So it's definitely one of the first things that I'd have a look at. Do you know one thing that really annoys me is that no one ever explained how you even find out what kind of house you can afford, what kind of mortgage you can get. So you could be out here just saving, not knowing what you're aiming for. I feel like you need to actually know what you're aiming for, how much loan you need to save for, so that you can have that focus and know how long this is likely to take you. Because it's really ridiculous, because most people are just like, oh, get a mortgage. They don't know if they can afford a £500,000 house, £500,000 house, a £200,000 house. Is it only 150 that they can afford? Because honestly, how much you earn, your salary, can affect how much mortgage you get. So the way that you do work this out is that you times whatever salary you get by 4.5. If you're buying a property with a partner, like a husband for example, you would plus your salary plus your partner's salary and then times that by 4.5. So that would be how much the bank is willing to lend you. You would then have to cover at least 5% of the property, because there are some schemes that allow you to provide a 5% deposit. I think the average is usually about 10%. That would usually be the least amount that you can provide as far as deposit. So for example, let's say my salary is 20,000 a year. I would then times that by 4.5 to then find out how much the bank can loan me. So 20,000 times 4.5 would be 90,000. So that means the bank can only lend me 90,000, and then I would then have to cover the rest. Already working that out, you know that you can barely afford anything, and what you probably need to do is to increase your salary. Or the other thing you can do is, obviously, if you're buying with someone, it would be, let's say if I have 20,000 and then someone else has 20, then already that's 40,000 times 4.5 instead of just my 20,000 alone. So that's the things that you need to think about, because you might be saving up thinking you're about to buy a house by yourself, and then you get to that point where you have your deposit but no bank will actually loan to you. So that's something that you need to know. How much can you actually borrow as far as your mortgage? How much of a deposit you need for that, so that you can start aiming for that deposit. As far as the deposit, everyone knows that's something that's so important. Without the deposit, just forget about it. You're not getting anywhere. You definitely need a deposit, and usually you need at least 5% because of the new government schemes, but the average is usually about 10% that you need to actually get a mortgage. So that's 10% of the value of the property. So Can you actually afford that deposit? How long will it take you to save for that deposit? So I think what you need to think about when you're saving the deposit is that there's so many schemes out there that pretty much give you free money. These are all government schemes that give you free money. Some of these schemes, I'll list them down. So there's I've got it written down just so I don't actually forget one of them. But these are the ones that I had a quick look at. So my personal favorite, the Lifetime ISA, that's the one I'm using. But that's a really good government scheme as well that gives you 25% off whatever you're saving, up to a limit. Another similar one is Help to Buy ISA. That has been closed now, but I think most people actually took one out just before it closed. It closed back in December 2019, somewhere around that. It was 2019. But if you already have that's one of the options. Unfortunately, you're not able to actually open any new ones, but there is also a Help to Buy equity loan, and there's also shared ownership. So those are already some of the options that you have. You do need to think about which of these options you want to use and actually save knowing that, because you have to think about whether you want a new build or an older house, because some of these schemes are only for new builds. So again, you have to actually think about that. And also some of these, they actually cap how much your property can be worth. So again, you will need to have thought about that before you actually commit to any of the schemes that I've just listed there. So now that you actually know how much of a mortgage loan you can get, how much your deposit needs to be, and you've already chosen the government scheme that you'll be using, and now you're making regular payments into those savings accounts to reach your goal, to reach your deposit, you actually do have to make sure that you're also saving for other costs that are associated with buying a house. You don't want to just save for the deposit, then get through to the process and then realize that actually you didn't save enough because there are other costs associated to it. So the other costs that are associated with buying a house are, so there's actually the mortgage fee. The mortgage fee is literally a fee for just taking out a mortgage with the lender. So this is a fee that the lender will charge you. Typically the fee would be around £1,000, but you need to obviously save for this for when it gets to that point. Another one would be valuation fee. So again, the lender does charge you this because what they'll want to do is to actually value the property that you want to buy, to make sure that obviously you're not buying a £500,000 house which is actually worth 250, because to the lender that's just a bad deal. So again, that's usually about £250. So again, that's another bit that you'll need to save for. So another one would be solicitor's fees. Obviously you need to actually pay your solicitor, and that's usually around £500 to 1,500. Obviously the typical values I'm putting here, it's different with where you're buying, how much the property is worth, things like that, but these are just the typical values of how much it will cost you. There's stamp duty, but obviously as we're talking about first time buyers, that only applies if your house is over 300,000, because you don't have to pay stamp duty if your house is 300,000 or less. If you use a mortgage broker as well, there might be a fee to this, but I think usually mortgage brokers, they are free because they get commission for the mortgage that you end up taking. But you have to obviously look into this. If you end up wanting to use a mortgage broker or mortgage advisor that charges you, then you want to make sure that you have this saved. And then obviously the other thing that you need to save for is just furniture. Once you get the house, you need to furnish it. And yeah, that's one of the things that you definitely have to think about as well. If it's going to need any home improvements, you will need to have that saved as well. So obviously you can tell that all of this ends up adding up. You have so many things to think about. You might have the whole deposit, you might have all this money saved for the valuation costs, for the mortgage fees, everything like that, but your credit score is not good enough and no lender will actually lend you that money. Or it might be that you have your deposit, you have a great credit score, but you didn't actually save enough and you don't actually have any money to even furnish the house or to even pay for your solicitor. So you need to definitely think about all these things before you actually get to the stage of, okay, let me now get to a mortgage broker and start looking for properties that I actually want to buy. So I do hope that this video has been helpful for someone out there. If it has been helpful to you, please leave a like and subscribe as well, because I will be posting more videos around finance as well, the things that they don't really teach you when you're at school. Thank you again. Bye.